Alright, welcome back everybody to Halo Reach. We were returning after losing... well, we just finished the New Alexandria mission. Our buddy is dead. And we're rejoining our team now after the orbital mission and the New Alexandria mission. Right now, the city, New Alexandria, is under attack. There's some jamming beacons that we're going to have to take care of. And some soldiers we got to try to rescue. But, yeah, nothing's looking good anymore. Whereas earlier in the game, you thought you could repel the Covenant. It's looking more and more like, nah, no one's going to get repelled here, and you're just going to have to escape at this point. You know, evacuate the civilians, evacuate the important medical, military personnel, and then get off planet.
Your report will have to wait, Lieutenant. The Covenant are jamming all comms to command. Cat needs your help running a counter-op. It's good to have you back. Sorry I came alone. Make him proud.
So we get to fly the Falcon.
Put your wings back on, Lieutenant.
And these guys are going to act as our gunner. They're going to give us different positions.
Covenant have deployed comm jammers in high rises across the city. When I find them, you hit them hard.
Yeah, so that's going to be our mission, is to find and hit comm jammers and such. They gave us the ability to lock our altitude here, which I really like.
One of our trooper squads went silent after the hospital got hit. I'll mark the location, complete their mission, and take out the jammer.
So you'll see the little arrow there. That'll let us know where we need to go. We also want to take care of banshees and other things that are in the air, because if they get too close to me, they will murder me. Otherwise, we will try to ignore them, I guess. Hard to say. I mean, they're not terribly difficult to defeat, unlike in Halo 1, where they seem to walk. They're not walking tanks, but they're pretty strong overall, because they're hooked into your shields. Eventually we'll have to start ignoring these banshees. I mean, I do have gunners too. They do an okay job of what they're supposed to do. So now we're gonna go towards the hospital. Got to be aware that there are, much like in some of the other Halo games, there will be anti-gun turrets like that that'll be sitting on top of stuff, so we will be murdering those as we come across them as well. I mean, they're not just on top of random buildings either. They're just hard to spot on top of random buildings, but you can be quite sure they're here, or there's something. We'll eventually run into anti-gun like turrets later on. This mission isn't terribly difficult, even though it's sort of a solo mission. You're not really getting backed up by any of your other buddies. And then your, little helpers on your air or on your chopper are just going to stay where they're at. They're not going to come in and help you. That being said, they do give you some help here and there and everywhere. Also, you see how they got little shields on them. That guy that's floating in the air needs to be taken care of. He is a member of the Covenant, but you don't generally see him too much. Because they so rarely use this creature. He's an ODST. I believe he is in Halo 2, but to my knowledge he does not appear in... Well, he definitely doesn't appear in Halo 1, and I don't think he's in Halo 3 either. He's sort of like a forgotten species of the Covenant. Even though he is part of the Covenant, he's kind of like a forgotten species. Insofar as, like, they don't pop up a ton in this game. Like I said, they're not in most of the earlier games. And what's the phrase I want to use? And then I don't know. They're not even like the hive bugs that you deal with, the swarm. You die. Thank you. I'm gonna have to go get some help. Help. Help me, guys. So I've kind of determined, as a side note to this game, that in many ways I can't seem to be happy about anything. And I'll explain. I'm generally a relatively happy person. I don't get like angry or try to hold grudges or any of that other fun bullshit. I want that. I want to go get that. I see that. I want it. But what I mean is, like, in the wintertime, I hate the snow. In the summertime, I hate the heat when I'm trying to go to bed. I don't know. As the days get shorter and the nights get longer, I really don't like that part of fall, you know, like, I like fall. I think it's like probably my favorite time of the year because it's, you know, you're going from a warm time to a cooler time. So, like, you don't really have to worry about it being overly hot like it is in the summer. It's not going to be overly cool like it is in the winter. And then, like I said, because you're going from hot to cold, you feel comfortable during the day. And then when night rolls around, unlike spring, you know, you're cooling off from that temperate day instead of, you know, getting cooler. Nice. It's generally how I deal with these guys. In this game, I don't know why. They were programmed better in earlier Halo games where if you throw a grenade at their feet, they would try to dive out of the way. Obviously, there are certain things about jackals that are not as well. You know, overall, you know, they made a lot of the AI a lot better.
Stay back, you stinking bastards.
You stinky bastards. You know, they made the AI smarter. They gave grunts a better AI, you know, to react. You know, they don't just instantly fall apart. Sometimes they gain like ungodly kamikaze-esque courage, which can be kind of dangerous. What am I thinking? But yeah, I mean that's sort of what I was trying to say is, like, I always seem to find even in the like sort of the times that I kind of like, I find certain things to be just annoying as hell. Like, you know, in the summertime, I don't like how it'll just get. I mean, it's not all the time. I mean, but you'll get really, really hot spells where it'll, you know, the lows will be in the upper 60s, lower 70s, and then the highs will be in the 80s and 90s. And, like, you're just trying to stay out of the heat. You're trying to stay cool, which means you got your air conditioning running, or you got a fan running, or whatever to try to stay cool. And it's like, you're wasting electricity. you know, in the wintertime because I've got electric heat. That's annoying because, you know, my electric bill goes through the roof. By the roof, through the roof, I mean like it goes from being like 80 bucks a month to like close to $200 a month. You know, summer to winter. And I don't really run my heat all that high because of that exact reason. I don't want to spend a lot of money on electricity, and I'm generally not at my house most of the time. Like at night, I'm asleep in my bed. Okay, great. I don't really need the heat up at that point. Then I go to work early in the morning. I don't come back till 5, and then I spend about 6 hours. Well, actually less than that because I'm driving my coworker home, but I'm spending about 4 to 6 hours at my house before I'm going back to bed, you know, and then we're repeating the process. And it's just some of it is I love winter, I love, you know, but I hate the snow. I love the long days of summer because it gives me lots of energy. Because I like the sun, it gives me, you know, gives me the warm, fuzzy feelings inside.
Nice work. Soon as you can,
So, you know, when we start getting into September, I don't really notice it so much. But by the time November rolls around, I'm starting to feel the effects of the lack of sun. And then, again, some of this is a matter of, like, perspective, if you will. Like, end of the year, okay? You know, the 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there. That's your shortest day of the year in the north, okay? And then every day is longer after that. And that's when I have the most trouble in terms of like seasonal affect disorder, feeling bluesy and such. But like as soon as we get out past New Year's, I don't feel that anymore because I get really excited about the NFL playoffs. You know, I think that's really awesome. A lot to look forward to because, you know, you're coming down to the end of the, you know, you're coming down to the wire. Each, you know, teams are getting eliminated. Half the teams are moving on. And, you know, you're eventually going to get to the Super Bowl. And then by the time the Super Bowl's over, you're in February. And you've essentially mirror-ended, you know, you're past the point where I would be at the beginning of November. You know? Or would you think here? So 22nd, that'd be a month, plus 22 days, roughly speaking. And then a month, that'd be the 22nd of January, plus 22 days. That would put me 10. Yeah, I mean, that'd be about right. I mean, that would put me roughly to the beginning of the end of the NFL season, would put you toward roughly to the mirror of, you know, when I start to feel bluesy to the point where I'm starting to get enough sun again that I don't feel sad anymore. It's not really sad or depressed, really. It's not like I want to cry or whatever. It's just that, like, I don't feel this, like the same happy self that I have in, you know, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, you know? And again, I think some of it has to do with the way you look at things, you know, like I said before, you know, once we get past the new year, you know, you're past the Christmas rush, you're past the, you know, it's going to be, you're going into a new year, you're thinking about all the things you did and all the mistakes maybe you made, or maybe not, I don't know, depends on who you are. And now that you're past that big landmark, it's now the new year, you can focus on other things, you know, you get back into your regular rhythm, you know, just sort of get back to quote-unquote normal, you know? I don't know. So, my point is, you know...
We're good here, sir. You can head back to your bird.
I don't know. It's just, certain things kind of bum me out, and I don't know what it is about holidays. Holidays are just starting to become, for me, a time marker it just, they're starting to become more of an annoyance to me than something that I used to look forward to. Like, oh, it's gonna be Labor Day, and I'll get to hang out with my siblings, or I'll get to do this, or we're gonna have a cookout or a party or whatever. And now it's just like, Labor Day comes around. Sister works retail, so she doesn't show up till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're all headed home at 6. So that's 3 hours you get to spend. So like, hallelujah, you're spending time with your sibling. I don't know. It's even when we're together, we're still busy working, or we're still busy with our own lives. And some of that has to do, I think, with the fact that I haven't actually bothered to live my own life. But yeah, by the way, this is what we're doing right now, is we're rescuing some Marines. So what we're going to do is we're knocking that out of the sky. And then we're going to shoot down these, whatever Covenant they drop down here on this thing. Looks like a bunch of grunts and maybe some jackals. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to shoot them and they're going to die. And now they're dead. And now, just defend this location for a bit. Take out this Banshee, and then eventually a dropship will come pick these guys up.
Keep your head in the game.
What's kind of nice is I do have a gunner to my left and a gunner to my right. The only downside is if I'm not on the right level, or I'm shooting the guy in front of me, they generally cannot shoot the guy that I'm aiming at. So, and if I'm relying on them for my left and right flank, that's fine and dandy, but like,
We got here just in time.
I don't know. So now we got another gunner we gotta deal with. Fine. Alright, we're gonna move on to our next area.
Request immediate assistance.
Go ahead, 2-7.
We're at the Virant Telecom Tower. Got hunters between us and the jammer.
Copy, 2-7. Help is on the way. Noble 6, I'm sending you coordinates for the Virant Tower. Go get those troopers unstuck.
So yeah, we're gonna go to a new tower. These missions aren't terribly difficult, as I mentioned before. But sort of the next two jammers we're about to do are going to, aside from getting inside the building, which can be a little bit of a difficult, because there's some guys out here on the balcony that need to be dealt with, but aside from the fact that there are, anti-air guns and grunts and jackals and that sort of stuff out here, yeah, you gotta watch out for that too. You notice he was aiming and then all of a sudden the bullets start curving towards me. Anyways, the next two areas, that we're gonna have to unjam are very simple. Like this one's just gonna be filled with hunters, and the next one's gonna be sort of like once you get off the landing pad, you'll be pretty much golden. I mean, there are enemies, but they don't seem to do a very good job of placing them to make it feel like you're battling back. Particularly if you know what's about to come. I'm just taking care of these Banshees to make sure that they don't blow my ass up whenever I land. Find the door, though. There it is.